You ever have one of those amazing ideas? The kind that feels so clear, so perfect in your head, but the second you try to explain it, it just kind of falls flat? Well, closing that gap between your idea and getting other people to see it, that's where a great visual story comes in. And that's exactly what we're going to get into.
Right. So you've got the idea. That's spark. But let's be real. Having the idea is only half the battle. The real trick is getting it to land with other people. How do you package it so they don't just hear you, but they actually get it, and more importantly, they remember it?
Well, the secret is turning that idea into a story. And your best friend in this process is a solid presentation. Now, I'm not talking about just a bunch of boring slides people read from. No way. We're talking about a real, honest-to-goodness communication tool.
So, at its core, what is a presentation? Think of it as a guided conversation, but with visuals. It's this canvas where you can use clean text for the facts, powerful pictures to make people feel something, and even a little bit of motion to show people exactly where to look.
And this is the most important thing to remember. You've got to think like a movie director. Seriously. Every single slide is like a scene in your film. You're not just throwing facts at a wall. You're building a narrative, a story that pulls your audience in and sticks with them long after it's over. Of course, every director, every storyteller needs their tools. So to build these awesome visual stories, we need to get familiar with the workshop. We're going to take a quick tour of PowerPoint and get you comfortable in your new creative headquarters. Okay, so when you first open it up, it can look a little busy. I get it. And you might notice the interface on our screen here is in Arabic, but that actually proves a really important point. The basic layout, the icons, where things are, it's designed to make sense no matter what language you speak. This is your canvas, and the rules are the same everywhere. So let's start at the top with what I like to call the command center. Every project needs a place for all the big picture stuff, and in PowerPoint, that's going to be your File tab. It's tucked right up there in the top left corner. It might seem simple, but this is the essential hub for everything. It's where you save your work, open something you've already started, or get it ready to print out. Simple, but crucial. All right, moving on, let's talk about the Home tab. If the File tab is your command center, then think of Home as your go-to toolkit. These are the things you're going to be reaching for over and over again. This is your workhorse for anything text-related. Making a title bigger, choosing a font that has the right vibe, making a key point bold. Yep, you're going to be spending a lot of time right here. But a good story needs more than just words, right? You got to engage the eyes. And for that, we're going to open up the Creative Toolbox, the Insert tab. This is where the magic really starts to happen. You can turn a boring slide of text into something visually rich. You can drop in a photo that says it all. Use shapes to build a quick diagram, or make a bunch of numbers make sense instantly with a chart. So now you've got your content, your words, your pictures, but how do you make it all look, well, good, like it all belongs together? That's when you call in your personal interior designer, the Design tab. Seriously, with just a couple of clicks in here, you can completely change the entire vibe of your presentation. We're talking professional themes, cool color combinations, and eye-catching backgrounds that make your story look polished and, honestly, just really cool. Okay, so it looks great, but maybe it feels a little static. How do you control the pacing and draw people's eyes to exactly what you want them to see? You give it a spark of life with the Animations tab. This is all about controlling the flow. You can make a key point fade in at just the right moment or reveal your arguments one by one to build a little suspense. It keeps your audience hooked on every word. All right, your story is built, it looks amazing, it flows perfectly, but before you show it to anyone, there is one last super important step, the final polish. And that's where the Review tab comes in. You know how it is. One tiny typo can be a massive distraction and just totally undermine your great idea. So think of the Review tab as your final quality control check. The spell checker is your absolute best friend here. It's what gives your hard work that professional shine it deserves. So, we've toured the workshop, we've got a feel for the tools, now for the fun part. Let's talk about the actual process. How do you put all these pieces together and build your masterpiece? It really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, you set the mood by choosing your design. Second, you fill the stage with your content, your words, your pictures, your data, and finally, you direct the action with a little bit of animation. That's it. Design, content, animation. That's your rhythm. So look, we've seen that a presentation is really just a story, and now you have a map of the place where those stories get made. The tools are all there waiting for you. The power is totally in your hands.
So, let's just quickly recap the big ideas here. 1. A presentation is not a document to be read, it's the thing that makes your idea breathe. 2. These tools we looked at, they're not complicated obstacles, they're there to help you be creative. And 3, and this is the big one, always remember that every single slide is just one piece of a bigger story that only you can tell.
Which, of course, leaves us with just one last, really exciting question. You've got the ideas inside you, and now you know the tools. So, what story are you going to share first?